So I know now we're getting towards the end of the semester. Is that the end of the semester? Is that true?
Yes.
Are you happy?
Yes, but somehow, why?
Why? Anyway, so good morning. I think we are almost there at the end of the semester, and I'm sure we'll be looking at final touches towards your end of semester examination. I agree with everybody. It hasn't been a very smooth semester. We've had quite a few hiccups, and I'm sure those are not a reason to be worried about. The exams will be coming very, very shortly, and as usual, an exam is an exam, right? It's never, even if I say, what is your name in an exam, you can fail to actually tell me your name. That's what an exam is all about. But since you are psychologists now, what it means is that in an exam, one of the best things that you are supposed to do is your emotional management, right? How you manage your emotions. Because with an examination coming, there will be an increase in your level of anxiety, right? Getting worried about. And we said, what did we say anxiety is last time? Eric, what's anxiety? Worry. So anxiety is worry. All right. Gilbert? Border?
Anxiety.
Yes.
Uncomfortable feeling.
You can see different types, uncomfortable feelings, worry, and something else. But anxiety, yes, is an uncomfortable feeling, it's a worry about something that may happen to you, which is unfavorable, right? So anxiety is always associated with something unfavorable, that's one, but also with something very, very favorable and good. That's possible. Can you be anxious about something good? Yeah, so when we look at anxiety, let's look at anxiety not only as a negative feeling, right? But anxiety can also be positive. For example, when you look forward to your examination, right? And you feel anxious, so you have that anxiety. Is it positive or negative? Yo, answer. You're expecting an examination and you are anxious. There's that anxiety in you. Would that be a negative or positive type of anxiety? What would it be like? Negative, why? In other ways, it will be a situation where you are not prepared for. But if you are very prepared for an exam, your anxiety is about to let it come and deal with it quickly and forget about it, right? Something like that. Don't you think so? Yes, so anxiety can be looked at from both ways. But where anxiety affects your functionality, then it becomes negative, right? Where anxiety does affect your normal functionality, then it becomes negative. Where it builds your expectation, positive expectation, then it becomes positive, right? Now, what it means is that from where we were looking at, when we looked at the issues of the mind, when we look at psychotherapy, I think we looked about issues of the behavior and the mind and how people manage their minds around, right? How you can manage your mind, the conscious and the subconscious or the unconscious. Now, all these things here have a role to play in your level of anxiety at any one particular time. So today we will be looking at some new area which will take us to probably the next part of the, how many weeks do we have now? One. So it's today and the other today. And after that? Okay. So, are you looking forward to your Grace Week? Are you anxious about it? Yeah. No, you are not. Because it will not be a Grace Week. It's a torture week. I don't know why you call it a Grace Week. Sabera, I like to call it a torture week, right? Because that week you have all your subjects, all your courses together, right? Those 5 days. And how much pressure do you have on you to go through all the 5 courses, or 5 courses, right? 4 courses, yeah. Through your 4 courses. So that, to me, is not a grace week, it's a pressure week, right? So this is how it is. And your levels of anxiety actually will be fluctuating from the expectation of your exam, and also the pressure that you have to withstand from going through your notes. Now, so those things have an implication. So now let's look at something that we call mental health. It's just important so that as we wind up and as you get out into the field, we have looked at issues of counseling, we have looked at guidance, we have looked at so many other things, including
You only want 20 years on this one.
then you are going to do
Nothing.
nothing, no.
No, but it's like in the next one.
Nowadays, it's back to so seriously.
Attitude.
So who's the mechanic?
Eddie can go on in the one.
No?
Eddie can go on in
Refresh. Can you try to refresh it? Huh? Refresh. How do I trust it?
How do you refresh?
Trust it.
Trust Eddie that I'm going to office.
Have you already typed to the exams already? Yeah, here.
Let me go and wait for you.
So I cannot release this one. If it was your brain, how do you look at it if it is like this? Isabel, the slowness of this computer would be similar to the slowness of somebody's brain, right? Yes. Yes, we call that cognitive overload, where your brain is overloaded and it cannot even know what to do. Like this guy is. It's completely updates. You understand?
You starting?
Yes, I should just do that and see maybe it will come back. Does it come back? It has been on 64 o'clock this morning. Yes, not yesterday. It must be. Yeah, so you see that when we are going to look at issues of mental health, there are issues that will guide you to understand your service users from time to time, and also based on the situations in which you meet those service users. Right? So here, while we're waiting for the computer to start, let's find out from Isabella, what is mental health? I know, let's look up. What would be mental health be like?
It can be anything to do with the functioning of the mind, the brain.
So anything to do with the function of the mind. Okay? Like what?
Many I use the bowl.
So here, okay. After that, we need Gilbert to give us something as well. Each one of you give me one.
One what?
What do you understand by mental health? I want to do that quickly.
One chance. Yeah, it's already done. So you give me what's
Kila
it?
kila Mbappe hiyo hala Madrid.
Mimi ndio wasaga.
Just a little.
Ah, why not? Yes, I'm about to love this. You didn't tell you.
After that it was you. Kuna inafaa fisi.
Your team. Iweje ndabwana?
Mama man see reduce. That's weekend. And national is a sort of which you need.
Even better. Nine years of us saying, what is that I'm saying?
You. Unajua what?
Guy, nothing will come carry no guy.
Ndio magamo na kiti mimi. Kwa this is a very.
How do you know? The Lord goes and you go. Sorry, I'm where I'm kind of.
Umemaliza
I'm not all the day.
Maliza gasula.
You know, it's not kind of stuff showing.
You are kind of double the grip now. You are the bitch.
That's what I'm telling my man.
That's the guy who go to tell you.
That way sorry to go to
Daily.
Kola renda hii.
So here,
Kola kumwati.
okay. So Isabella, you said what is it? What is it?
The functioning of the brain.
So here it's about functioning, right? And when you say functioning, what do you mean by functioning of the brain? If you start beating everybody around, it's still functioning of the brain, right?
Yes.
Is that mental health?
Yes.
Okay, you start beating everybody around, that's mental health, right?
That's a mental problem.
Okay.
That's a mental health problem.
Okay. The other one, Gilbert.
About mental health.
Yes.
It's like how you understand things. Like
Okay. So understanding is what? Okay.
Emotions.
William. Yes. Another one.
Mental processing.
Behavior.
Okay. If you talk about mental processes, how different is it from functioning? Okay. And here, behavior. Okay. That is what we think it is. Anything else?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about behavior. What type of behavior are we talking about? Any behavior is behavior, not so.
yes.
Right? Any behavior is behavior.
And mental health is the state of how somebody cope with different situations.
Okay? Something else. There must be something else. Coping with different situations. How?
Like how you manage your stress, the ability to do something.
Right. And the issues of ability. Looking for something. Very, very important. Something very important.
Conscious.
What?
Conscious.
Conscious. Okay. Something. And you are with it. Okay, it's easy to get it. What is it? Why do all these things happen?
In the mind, right?
Why do all these things happen, who sees you that this one has this or this one has that? Right? Who knows what to people in a certain environment where you are, right? So let's now look at what we really mean by mental health. This is one of the areas which have been highly studied and documented. But we have a lot of authorities behind what mental health is all about. And one of those will be the World Health Organization. Naturally, it is an interested party in this area of mental health. Right? Is mental health and wellness the same thing? When you say I'm well, how does that mean?
You're somewhat stable.
You say I'm well, what does that mean?
You're stable.
That's stable, okay? So if you have a headache and you're stable, what does that mean? Are you well or not well?
Not well.
Okay. So let's just look at it a bit quickly. I say there's maybe one of the areas we'll be looking at, and also could be our last topic. And naturally, being a last topic, we should have an example, a question. You can't just how do we conclude our life without an example? So we should be able to make one. Okay, so let's now start. Let's look at it. And I want you to relate to all those things that you have put down there and try to understand what actually mental health is all about. Okay, here we go. I'm excited to come up with the World Health Organization action into that because they are the authorities over and above everything else. These are the authorities who will understand what mental health is and what health issues are supposed to be. So here, they look at mental health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. Why social well-being? That's a very simple example. Why should a mental health issue still depend on the social well-being of an individual? Any suggestion? Why do you think? You are physical, yes, which is physiological. You are psychological, yes, which is mental. But why social well-being of yourself as an individual, right? So you find that when you look at the issues of mental health, it is also about how you relate to others in an environment, right? That's why I said there's something very, very important about that, right? Mental health is also about you relate with others in an environment. Okay, let's assume you are an individual, and you just live alone in your house, never come out, never do it, just alone there. Is that a disorder?
Yeah.
Or it's normal for yourself?
Yeah, for yourself it's normal, but for the society, the environment, it's not.
All right, so let's proceed and see what actually this entails. So here, therefore, if you look at the issues of mental health, these are issues. It also knows that there's been service there. So here, when we talk about mental health, it's also about your psychological and emotional responses to yourself and to others around you. That's what it means, right? There are people who are perpetually or chronically angry. That's a serious term to use, chronically angry. Can you find somebody who's every day is just angry, is an angry person? That's possible. Somebody who's naturally angry. Every time you are fighting, it's just angry. There's nothing you can do about it. Right? That is not a healthy mental state of an individual. So here, when we talk about the actual mental health, we are looking at the ability of an individual, right, to keep and to satisfy consistently a social relationship. I think if I say social relationship, it's a bit, it gives a different meaning. But let's put it as a social, social relationships. What we call the social capital, right? Eric, that's true?
Yeah.
Social capital, is it social relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. And social capital is social relationships and social networks that you create around yourself, right? Do they have a social function? Or do they have any function? Why are social networks and social relationships important in an individual's life?
Because no man is an island. We all depend on each other.
And to go further, those provide social support in terms of need, right? In terms of distress and something like that. A simple example is a funeral, for example. When a funeral occurs in a household or in a family, you find that people who support those individuals are people who are closer to that particular individual, or the community in which that individual is, right? Yeah. We look at that as the normal way of responding to individual needs within the community. That's the wellness of an individual. But when we have people in our locations or wherever we stay, where they don't commune or they don't support community activities, it's possible, right? And I'm sure I've known people who have never come to the funeral in a location. Everybody are laughing. No, yes. Yes. Yeah. So you think they are mentally disturbed or is that a mental disorder type of behavior? Or no? So what it is here, if you are doing something outside the expectation of the community or the society, you are not mentally well. Something is wrong with you. A human being must belong to a network of social support around that particular individual. That individual will be viewed to be normal. If you look at what normal is and something like that. And also, the other issue that denotes that an individual's mental health is okay is independence, right? How you are able to live your independent life and something like that. That's very question. If you are dependent, is that a mental disorder to be dependent on something or somebody?
Yeah.
Explain to us. Yeah, it's not an answer.
Because you cannot always depend on someone. You need to have a sense of independence, believe in yourself.
Okay. Okay. Now let's assume that all of you are dependent on your parents for your school fees, right? And everything. Are you mentally disoriented?
No, it's just a matter of time.
Okay, I like that. So independence also is the related to age, right? The type of age and look at that as we proceed, something like that. So, and when we talk about this as we proceed, you'll see how also it grows incrementally based on age, something like that, right? Okay. The other issue is that are you able to manage your own life? That's one thing. What does this mean? Managing your own life. What does that mean? First, are you able to manage your own life? And we say you are able to manage your own life. How do you? What is it that you're talking about?
Making your own choices.
Okay, so being independent and being able to make choices that can actually improve your own self-awareness, your strengths and weaknesses, and also be able to live within that. So what is very clear here is that one, mental health is the totality of all our individuals' functionality, how you function. But now here, functionality too can be unpacked, right? So it's just a very, very general statement. But even that functionality is supposed to be unpacked, so we're able to understand what is it that we can term as functionality or being functional as an individual, right? If you start breaking people's cars around the road, are you not being functional? You are functional, right? So that's mental wellness. Why? Are you not functional? You're able to break the cars around, right? So what's wrong with it?
You're functioning, but in the wrong way.
In the wrong way. So it goes down to your behavior, right? Type of behavior that you are able to execute to show does not is not acceptable within that particular environment or something like that. That's what it is. So functionality is something that must bring in positivity into yourself as an individual, and also positivity to other people around you, right? And also positivity to the community you belong to. So this is how you would look at this. So when we talk about mental health, we're talking about the mental wellness. And those are the issues that we brought around, all those things down there. Your ability to understand, that's the cognition, how you, the processes that lead to your functionality, and also the issue of your mental processes. How you're able to manage your emotions, for example, and also are you able to cope with a situation, right, of stress, whatever it is, in a given environment, for example. Now, I can give you a simple example. Here is a lady who has lost, as an example, right? Who has lost a husband, right? And during the funeral ceremony, this lady will whip her heart out, right? And people try to control this way and that and whatever, say all sorts of things. And we always say, Basi, Dasarandeka, Dibitanano. I think you have heard some of these things. And at the time they go to the grave to bury that husband, right? As she goes to bid farewell to a dead person. When you bid farewell, you never talked about the transaction analysis. You remember that very well, right? When you bid farewell, it's communication. There must be a response. Remember, this is the transactional stimulus and all sorts of things, right? So if you bid farewell to a dead person, are you communicating?
Yeah.
What is communication?
So,
in your communication lessons, what is communication? What did you say?
transfer messages.
Okay, pass messages. So if you don't get the feedback, have you communicated?
Yeah, so it's like, for example, if you're asking someone for something, you have asked him, he has not answered you. It may be that he doesn't. So it's still communication.
Okay. So let me deal away with my example. So at the point where they are going to bury that husband, right? Naturally, she wants to either bid farewell or whatever it is. Assuming that's the true use of the word, bidding farewell to a dead person, where you cannot get feedback or communication. That's another issue. But because she said, leave it now, the Zukurus come around and say, no, and start saying, right? Okay. What would that be in that particular situation? What would that be? Is that a mental wellness or mental disorder? What would have happened? That's what you show me. What would that be? If you are there at that particular funeral, what would come into your mind about that particular incident and that particular individual and the situation in which this occurred? Anybody, anything? Is that anything abnormal or no?
It's normal.
So it's normal. What is abnormal is that you fail to a company to go with it. So those are mental issues, issues of emotions and how you manage your emotional situation around an occurrence, right? Those are behavioral issues or something like that. So mental wellness, mental health is about all those things and how you manage those 7 things that we put around there. Now here, one issue that I want you to pay attention to is that mental health involves the adjustment, right? Where you're adjusting to an environment, where you're adjusting to what the world can provide. What do I mean by this? Mental wellness of an individual or mental health, as we look at it now in courts, it's about adjustment. Now, the question is adjustment on what or about what, right? We're talking about issue of environment and also what is provided for around yourself. Okay, Eric and Boston support different teams. I hope it is true, right? Soccer, whatever it is. I don't know whichever you support, whether you support Blue Eagles or Chitipa United, that's a different issue. Right? But the question is, when the game is being played, the games people play. You remember? In our transaction analysis by Eric Bell? Mm-hmm. There are situations where you communicate, right? And you're supposed to get responses to certain stimuli that come around, right? Now, there are instances where Boston and Eric will end up fighting. Is that normal or not normal?
Normal.
Why is it normal?
Because they have different views.
So, when you have different views, then you have to fight. Is it? Right. So here, we're looking at the issues of adjustment. Adjustment in an environment. You're in an environment and you cannot agree. Right? You cannot adjust to the reality on the ground. That becomes a mental health issue. Mental health issue because you will not have been able to manage your emotions, right? Which end up as anger. You get my point, right? So, when people fight, it starts as an emotion, right? Which naturally there's an impulse behind that, which generates the anger. And after anger is generated, then there's the action, which is a fight. So, it becomes a mental health problem. Eric, are you mentally well or not? Discuss. No, tell your friends what to discuss.
Commercial break.
Job related. This thing is good.
I was wondering also, but
How did you want it?
it was showing me, so I was like, maybe it just changed colors. Just press it.
Pressing so hard.
Until it turns green.
Juba. Juba.
How I can do?
What's the problem? Okay, so here, I think you were talking about the issue of adjustment. Come to work, that's fine.
Last one. What was it?
Check it again.
Say it.
We have an individual manager here who defines mental health as the adjustment of the human being to a world around you. Now, let's be a bit practical. We say mental wellness or mental health is how you adjust yourself to the world around you. What does that mean? There is a gentleman I've been seeing for the past 30 years who walks every day from Jewa into town in the morning and back to Jewa in the evening. Naturally, that is a mental health disorder. That's just a condition, right? And in between, the past 2 years has changed his pattern. He used to walk all the way from Jewa on the white line to town, do whatever he wants to do on the white line back at 5 o'clock. 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, every day. I used to observe, see him every day. Now has changed his pattern. He walks from Jewa down and goes back via Chisabo. I don't know which way it goes to get to Jewa. I observed that as well. Now, that's a different issue. Is it a mental health disorder or what is it? What Mr. the mental health disorder? Okay. Well, we shall see what it is. So here, when Nigeria talks about mental health as that adjustment of a human being in the world around that where you are. So given this scenario, do you think this individual here is not adjusted to the world around him, walking every day down and back? Has he not adjusted? So what is wrong with him or with us who see him? It's our interpretation of his behavior, is it? That's what we think it is abnormal. Right? And don't you think he may also be thinking that what we do is abnormal? No, that's just a question. Between you and somebody in that situation, who sees who as being abnormal or not? Boston is in.
Actually, I'm not doing Boston, but it's when we live.
Yeah, so that's what he says. And I will continue to state that this adjustment must also extend to how you as an individual are able to mix and adjust, right? To the others. How you adjust to the others. You can see now. So this guy walks every day and back. Does he adjust to the others? And over the period that we observed him, he never talks to anybody. He just be walking. He's never rough. He walks back. Now I discovered something new, which I think he likes it. Every time he's going back, he carries something. What changed? how do you go? I don't know, you call those things in chair or whatever it is. Ziyama rukira as much as then super touch green field like vegetable that's that. Not kanjeza. No, those things are just like matubers are potato, sweet potato, but they're thin. Ziyama rukira as chat. Not to be careful.
No, say it in your own.
Ziyama marichero. Ziyama rukira marichero. Tizinga mnaweza marichero. Kuna watu walizojua watu wengi marichero. But in my home we use those things around. Something like that. He's now carrying those things every day back. I say I'm back to where he comes from. What he does with those things, nobody knows. That would be a good area for research. Research in the case of Mr. Njeo. Mr. Njeo.
Yeah, Mr. Njeo, we have given him a name.
You know, Mr. Njeo, the story behind it is that, and it was very sharp. It was in the, up to 4 by secondary school, long time ago. Long. But the kinds of forms of words, but yeah. That's why I was in my thinking when I was observing that why he leaves 7 o'clock in the morning always into town, using same road, and 5 o'clock. In his mind, he's working. Because when he was growing up, remember the script? So the script can also go into mental issues, right? Yeah, when he was growing up, he saw people going at 6:30 to work, 5 o'clock back. So he wakes up in the morning to go. He's also at work, back. So this is interpretation that you can get, but these are quite interesting issues around. Now, also, here, what it means is your mental health, you should be able to the maximum possible be happy, right? And be effective or something like that. So it's quite interesting here. Now, let's look at one of the real authorities on these issues, the American Psychiatric Association, the APA. It defines mental health as the successful performance of mental functions shown by productive activities, right? So your success in your mental function must be indicated by certain activities. That's why all those things are around there. How do you process your cognition, your emotions, and things like those, right? And the issue of adaptability. How do you adapt to change, for example, right? And all those things are issues that can show an individual's degree of mental wellness. And this one here, let me take you backwards a bit. When you are looking at issues of early childhood development, there's an issue of adaptability, where a child moves from the home into a small institution, right? The early childhood institution, whatever it is, and so on. It involves a lot of issues of adaptability to that particular change. And if you have observed before, a child going to a preschool will always very, very much cry so much, not wanting to go. It's possible, right? Okay, why? Adaptability to change. And at that level, the child will not have developed most of the development milestones to be able to adapt to that particular change. In other words, the child is much more attached to the parents, much more attached to the mother or to the father, that moving that child from the home into an institution becomes like a threat to that particular individual. The child will eventually resist. Now, over time, right, that the same child will cry so much when it's supposed to be taken from the center to the home. You have seen that. Mm-hmm. Why? Okay. Is this reverse adaptation? Or what is it? It's not reverse adaptation. It's all adaptation, but the child is developing certain skills that are making that individual attached to other people. That's fulfilling now the relationship with other people. I've observed children here, when their parents come to pick them up, some will cry so bad, right? They don't want to go. Reason, they enjoy their play. But when they get home, they'll get the same ordinary level, right? The men. So they wish always to be around with other people. So those types of activities actually an indication of a well-functioning mental situation or mental state of an individual. And also, issues of how we cope with adversity, for example. So they like about. Okay, just yeah. So this is how. All right. This is how we look at the awareness of an individual's mental state. Now here, we must really take note that mental health, by these definitions, actually, revolves so much on the ability to adapt. Ability to adapt. Boston, what is to adapt?
To fit in.
To fit in. Okay? To fit in. When you're adapting to something, who fits into it? Or who fits into it? It's a question to all of us. Who fits into what?
The religion to the discussion.
Does the society fit into you or you fit into society?
You fit into the society.
Why? Why?
Because we have to function the
Yes.
way.
Because of what?
We have to function the way.
You remember when you're looking at the system is the theory. Right? System is theory. Society is a system. Right? It's made up of different elements which must fit into that particular system for it to function. And you as an individual, you're just a very small piece in that system around. So that's why you're not bigger than the society. Right? You cannot be bigger than your own. Possible, right? No, yes.
You're going to be bigger than
Yeah.
man.
You cannot be bigger than Malawi as a society, right? Or as a country. It has so many small elements inside it. And inside it here, we have people with mental health issues, right? We have people who are with their mental wellness, they're able to fit into this and all those things. Functionality and also, and they're able to adapt to something that what is supposed to be there, right? In the same society here, there are people that are tiny and also so things. They are also part of the system, right? So this is how we should be able to understand. Now, mental wellness is about you being able to fit in that society, right? And move on based on the expectations of what that society actually expects of you. So here, that's what it is. Your mental health should be about how you adjust, right? How many of you are in the body facility there? Nobody. You? It's nobody. Okay. It is body facility is an institution, right? And I'm sure in the body facility, you can see quite a lot of these issues of being able to adapt to or never, something like that, right? And also the changes that occur between you, your home, into the body, whatever it is. You start developing your own whatever it is. Let's ask the one who's in the body. Don't you have colleagues in the body who want to cook around 1 a.m. when everybody is asleep so that they can now eat comfortably? Well, or don't you have friends who want to eat at a certain degree of put in the blanket, give blanket? Is that not possible? You have your own nice biscuit, you don't want to share. You say them blanket, eat. Or she want to post. So all these things are issues of adaptability. And if you are able to do that, there's something with your mental abilities, right? Because you have the right to eat openly, and tell your friend, don't even share. It's none of your business, right? But I felt that you feel guilty about just eating when everybody's watching you. You something is there. What do you do? You share, right? Unfortunately, when you share, make sure you actually share. You share 10 Ghani, then you are in trouble. Also, not just pick 2 or 3 because I pick 7 and leave 2 for you and get 6. See, that's human nature. Yeah. So this is how we should be able to understand ourselves and the issues of our mental health. So mental health is a behavioral issue. Mental health is about your cognition, about your functions, your mental processes, about your coping mechanism, and about how you adapt to the environment. That is what it is. All right. So if you are not able to adjust to given situation, we refer to that condition as a disorder. So if you cannot fit in anywhere, you have that degree of mental disorder. I've always said that I think all of us here, we will not have a mental disorder, but maybe we have a psychiatric disorder. Small one, 1%. 1% of all of us here have a small madness somewhere. No, yes.
Yes.
Why?
It's human needs.
Nature.
Nature.
Yeah.
So just nature, but you have a small madness. Yes. It's a major issue. Let's look at an example of anger, for example. How many of you have never been angry before? Angry. Yeah? So how many of you who have been angry, your anger has ended up in a fight? Whatever. Right? So that becomes part of some degree of mental disorder. We are not able to manage your emotions, right? We are not even able to manage your mental processes. That can lead to that situation where you end up fighting. On a very simple thing. Very, very, very simple thing.
If someone started, you are not supposed to respond.
You say what?
If someone started, you are not supposed to respond.
No, we are supposed to respond. But your response should be something that you are able to manage. So fighting is not an answer. It's a response, yes, but it's not an answer. After fighting, then what do you get after that? Okay? You have fought. Liverpool has lost, Arsenal has won, and you have fought here in the wrong way. Very few people. Yeah. So who wins?
No one.
Okay. So that's what I talk about it. That's a slight mental disorder. Because you're supposed to manage your emotions and also be able to understand why certain things happen. Right?